This is what happens when some form of psychosis meets a massive ego trip. I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this. If you are not part of a lineage that you are dabbling in, and folks who are part of that lineage and initiated into that lineage are telling you to stop messing around with it, it's not because they're gatekeeping. Now, my understanding is there's a woman on here who thinks that she's channeling 𝐉𝐨𝐿 and speaking on behalf of 𝐉𝐿. I've seen a lot of people like her. They don't want to do the heavy lifting of an initiation. They don't want to do the work. Some of them are not even eligible to be initiated into what they are trying to dibble dabble in. As I said, in my opinion, this is what happens when psychosis meets a massive ego trip. There is no trickster spirit quite like your own ego. And on top of that, everybody's talking about these trickster spirits, Some orishas are also tricksters. Like, if you believe in this and your phone call, so to speak, were to make it to its intended recipient, okay, you could still have a trick played on you by an orisha. But as everyone is saying, this woman is not talking to an orisha. And whether you believe in that or not, I think we can all agree this woman is not talking to an orisha. She's talking to her phone on TikTok and getting massive, massive views because of it. Like I said, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The people who are warning her are trying to warn her for her own protection. And it's her decision, her choice not to listen. Consequences are hers also. We all remember what happened to that girl on Facebook who was trying to mess around with Papa Legba to get back at her black ex-girlfriend, allegedly. I will say everything in this video is my opinion and alleged. I also don't think that whether you believe in it or not actually matters. I think everyone can look at this and say, hey, this is a little disrespectful. I think the disrespect transcends belief here. Whether you believe in this or not is aside the point. There's someone who is trying to claim something as their own, trying to claim the voice of something as their own, when they have no business doing that, when they have objectively no business doing that. But even as someone who has a personal family history in similar practices of magic, I won't go too deep into it, but I can say, like, I can't even work with anything under this lineage as a non-initiated person. So nothing gives the right to you, who has no connection to this lineage, to come in without a connection and without initiation. At the end of the day, you cannot protect people from their own ego trip, no matter how hard you do it. I just think it's sort of insensitive that you're bringing African orishas into this. Because, for what?
I'm smiling because last time I didn't do that, and I promised you guys that I will continue to fight for my channel for 𝐉𝐿. There's messages that want to come out, and they've been coming out from 𝐉𝐿.
And no, they're not. No, they are simply not. I do think this presents a wonderful opportunity to talk about different forms of closed practice. When we think about closed practice, a lot of the times we think about a bloodline, but when it comes to certain forms of these Ifa-derived magic traditions, you genuinely do have to be an initiate. Just having the bloodline alone won't do it, and just having no bloodline and no initiation, y'all, you're talking to yourselves, in my opinion. Okay, not only is your phone call not going through, you have no signal, your signal is out. For anybody who's watching this who doesn't understand the magnitude of it, it's like if I, as a melanin deficient black girl, were to hop on here one day after watching a Bollywood film and claim that I was in direct contact with Kali and I was channeling Kali and I had a message for everybody as the only person who was able to actually reach and channel her, and my message is unlike anybody's, and it's just like, y'all, I hope you would send help. I have no business speaking on behalf of deities in Hinduism, and I have no business sharing my own projections of that culture via channeling what I think the deities or whoever is going through. Like, be so expeditiously for real. This is also analogous to the rise in popularity of Sakyant tattoos from Thailand. I remember the first non-Thai person I saw to get one of these tattoos was Anthony Bourdain on one of his TV shows like a while back. And he made it with the premise of like, in order to get this tattoo, you have to sacrifice something big. And it was like a spiritual pact. And I looked up these tattoos afterwards and I was like, oh, these look sick. But I would never consider getting one, especially out of context of working with someone of that lineage, especially of Thai ancestry. Well, nowadays, Sakyant tattoos are literally like the new yin yang. People are just getting them out of the wazoo. They don't know what they represent, what they have to sacrifice. It's a matter of they look really cool. You know, I want something on me that looks really cool. I'm not talking about a cultural appropriation argument here. I'm just talking about taking different things from cultures that you appreciate and enjoy and completely detaching them from original intended meaning or use, which, as we all know, is a form of... A lot of folks want to work with these perceived powers. Again, like I said in my other video, whether you believe in it or not is aside the point here. I'm just talking about purely cultural respect. A lot of folks want to get these for the most superficial purposes, and that is abundantly clear to those who actually have a connection to whatever lineage. In this situation, we're talking about Ifa, we're talking about Oshun, we're talking about all of the people who are calling this person, I'm not going to name them, calling them in and letting them know, hey, you're not working with Oshun, you know, and they are choosing to absolutely disregard Black people. Okay. And I think there's also this inclination to take Black and brown cultural practices a lot less serious and have a certain level of entitlement to them. And in addition to cultural practices, we're also talking about religions here. Okay. So all I have to say is do better. You know, if someone like me with an actual connection to this in my lineage can't just like up and practice, I want you to really consider the level of initiation that is needed here, because there's no amount of being able to work with this stuff outside of the sacrifices. There's no working with these orishas without the sacrifices, without the giving on your end. There's no getting the Sakyant tattoos without sacrifices, you know, without working with someone within that lineage. So I think we all just need to hold each other to a standard that we want to be held to and commit ourselves to doing the hard shit or getting absolutely lost, which is probably what needs to happen here.